and they won a series with Toronto. So I think that's got to pump them up a bit. They got to be riding off that for sure. I think and they've been the underdogs in every single series. They're going to be on the underdogs again, and I think they're riding off that too. They're ready to play.
All right. Welcome back to Unlimited. Before we get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow at Unlimited Pod on Instagram as well. We got an exciting one today. There is a Canadian team crowned in the North Division, and we're going to talk about it today. Les Canadiens de Montréal are the Kings of the North, and I had to get a Habs fan on to talk about this. It was only right? Like, even though I'm a Leafs fan, I knew this time would come. I had to get a Habs fan on the podcast to talk about the success of their team. So, yeah, he's a Habs fan. He's a big Jays fan, NFL fan, and Pro Hockey Life's very own. It's Luke Leblanc. Luke, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you, Aiden. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Glad to be here.
First time appearance, second Pro Hockey Life worker on. I had Matt back on in February. Nice. So that was a good one. So let's see if we can top that one. So yeah, the Canadiens, that's basically going to be the premise of this podcast. We'll talk a little bit of Leafs as well, and just some general NHL stuff later on. But first off, did you see the CN Tower lights yesterday?
Yeah, I posted it on my Instagram.
Oh, did you really? You put it on your story?
Yeah, just to kind of tease the Leafs fans and my following of Canada's team, if you will.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So what did you make of that?
They did that.
Yeah, I know, right? I was surprised that they did that too.
Whoever runs the CN Tower Lights is one of those fans who just wants a Canadian team to win it. And I don't know. That's probably the main reason. You have a lot of casual fans, I guess you could call them, that just want a Canadian team to win. But if you're a competitive person, you probably just want your Canadian team to win. If you're a Leaf fan or you're a Habs fan or a Jets fan or whatever.
I wonder who decides on that. Like, is it just the people at the CN Tower that could decide what lights to be put on? Like, I feel like you got to talk to like Justin Trudeau about that, or like, maybe not Trudeau, but like Doug Ford, maybe something like that, just to give him permission. Because like
probably a bunch of 20-year-olds who are like, what colors do we need now?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. But like, yeah, when I first saw it, like I was okay with it. Like, okay, sure, we're showing some respect. They deserve it. Good sportsmanship from Toronto. But then my friend texted me like, hey, we're not the capital of Canada. Like, why are we doing this? This is Toronto. Like, we just lost to them in the first round and we're showing respect. Like, imagine it was like Boston colors or something in years past.
Yeah, at least with the Canadian theme, it kind of, you can sort of attribute like a meaning to it. But the more you think about it, it's like, why is Toronto doing that? They could have just said no. It's got to be some person that's like, yes. No, you know what? They're a Habs fan. That's why.
They probably, yeah. They're jumping on the Habs bandwagon. Yeah, for sure.
A Habs fan that's very good with their words that could convince somebody like, it makes sense, right? Canada's team. We got to do it, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't really care, but I love how people are just making like a meme out of it now. Like Toronto is like one of the only city to like actually chirp themselves, essentially, like by doing that. Like, you're just trolling your own city. So only Leafs Nation could be able to pull that off. So I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they don't stick with those colors for a couple more days. Hopefully they get rid of them.
Just a day or something. Leafs fans have to have a self-deprecating sense of humor at this point, based on what they put themselves through.
Exactly. So and we'll get into that. We'll get into that a bit later. Well, let's stick on, I guess, the positives for you, at least, as a Canadiens fan. So yeah, even though they've only won 2 rounds so far, you got to be feeling pretty good about maybe their chances heading into round 3. So I guess just what does this moment like mean to you as a Habs fan to start off, like making it to the 3rd round? Like, you've obviously seen it once before, I think. Before
2010, I think it was at the Penguins Washington thing.
Or was it? No, I think wasn't it the Rangers and Montreal in the Eastern Conference Final?
Oh man,
because it was like
I was thinking it was Washington and Pittsburgh. Then we met Philly and lost to Philly.
That must have been a while back.
What year it was.
Do you remember?
2010.
2010. I feel like it was more recent. I think it was like 2014. It was the Canadiens and the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. Carey Price got injured, and
Yeah.
Dustin
Yeah.
Tokarski had to come in. You remember
I
that?
vividly remember that.
And then
Very bad memories of that.
So yeah, that's basically, I guess, what lost them the series. But I think Tokarski kept them in a few games at least. But yeah, the
Yeah,
Rangers
but
were
it's like
just
a
too
whole
good.
mental thing. You lose Carey Price, in the playoffs, and just everybody's skill level, their overall level just goes down a little bit because they just don't have that boost from their tendy.
Definitely, especially like the confidence. So yeah, like, well,
Yeah.
how you feeling? How you feeling about this team?
I almost haven't like wrapped my head around the fact that like we're actually in the conference finals. I haven't seen this for such a long time, and I certainly didn't expect it to happen.
Yeah,
Going into a series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, oh man, I did not see it coming this far. I definitely felt better against facing the Jets versus the Leafs, but
right.
making it this far, I haven't thought about it too hard. Just living in the moment, I guess.
Yeah, and like we were
It's
talking like in the Leaf series a bit, and you said
mm,
you weren't even watching the games. Like you knew they were gonna
too
lose.
stressful. Too
It's too
stressful,
stressful.
especially when you're three down. No, I wasn't watching. I didn't even watch that fifth game, I don't think, until I don't know, did that go to OT?
Yes, it did, and that was the 2-0.
Then I think I turned on for the third period because it's like, wow, we are actually might do this.
Right, and then did you watch Game 6 and 7 then?
Yeah, once we won one game, then I had to watch the rest of the series for sure. And I didn't turn off anything. I was watching the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting series, especially for you, I guess, coming out on top there. So, but
Yeah.
they got a tough challenge coming up in the next round. Now we don't know who it is. Vegas is up 3-2 on Colorado. Great game last night.
Yep.
Mark Stone with the overtime winner. What a shot over
Hmm.
Grubauer there. Um, what's your confidence level heading into a possible series against like the Golden Knights or the Avalanche? Because in my point of view, and
Hmm.
honestly, in a lot of people's point of view, they see the North Division as a complete lower tier than the
Hmm.
other divisions out there because of the competition level in the North Division is clearly weaker than the other divisions. But do you think
Hmm.
Montreal has a chance to at least compete with them or win? But
Yeah.
it's going to be tough. Like Colorado and Vegas, they're like the two top teams in the NHL.
Yeah, this is going to be the toughest challenge, like even more so than Toronto was. Like, got a team that can score just as much, if not more, on either side, Vegas or Colorado. They both score a lot of goals, and then they got defense. And then the goalie like Fleury, who's now on a three win streak, which is if he gets that fourth one, you don't want to be facing Vegas when Vegas
When he's
scores as
hot.
much as they do,
Mm-hmm.
and they have Fleury, who is hot right now. So that's a scary challenge. They're both teams. I don't want to say have no confidence. I have to have some confidence in my team, especially what they've pulled off. Their confidence is at an all-time high right now. I don't see why we couldn't pull it off, but I gotta keep my I don't know. I gotta keep it in check. I can't say like, it's no problem. It's gonna be like 50-50.
50-50. Okay. You know, I think the Habs would take that for sure. In my opinion, like it just depends on Carey Price. Like you brought him
Hmm.
up earlier. Like if Carey Price continues to play the way that he's been playing, especially in this last
Hmm.
series against the Jets, excluding last game, game 4, he didn't play his best
Hmm.
game, but the Montreal Canadiens bailed him out. Finally, they had to do that.
Yeah.
I think he can single-handedly win them a series, but that's going to be such an entertaining series. I don't know who it's going to be at this point. I think Colorado is not done. I think they can come back and win
Yeah.
this still, but
You
it's
would
just going to
think
be
where are they playing? Are they going
they're going
to
to Vegas in
Vegas? Yeah.
game 6.
And Vegas is up.
I know.
That's tough.
And Colorado hasn't won a game in Vegas yet this series.
And
So
Vegas is on a streak for 3 wins in a row. So
exactly.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas pulls this off. They got more playoff experience too in the past.
that's true. Yeah, and Marc-Andre Fleury as well. He's won
Yeah.
3 cups before. He knows all about that experience. And yeah, I don't
Hmm.
know. It's going to be a big challenge for Colorado heading into that game. But we'll touch on
Hmm.
that series a little bit more later. But I guess just going back to the Jets and the Habs series, you said that you thought it'd be an easier series than it was against the Leafs, and I agree with that too.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah.
Were you expecting it to end in 4 though?
In 4? No, I did think we would probably come out strong. You don't come back from the Leafs down 3 games, 3-1, and then I was getting like Columbus and Tampa vibes in whatever year that happened, where
Oh,
they
okay.
swept them, where Columbus for that last like stretch, they had to win like 8 of their last 10 to make the playoffs. And like Tampa was on a record-setting like season where they were just cruising for that last like quarter of the season because they had clinched it so far,
Yeah.
like so shot, I don't know, whatever, a few games in. So I don't know. I was getting the Colorado Tampa vibes, like Montreal just clawed and scratched their way out of that series against Toronto, and Winnipeg just cruised by Edmonton. So
Yeah.
Montreal was just ready to pounce on the next series, and Winnipeg was not. They had a long rest too, like close to 10 days,
Uh-huh.
as well as just cruising through Edmonton. So I had really high hopes for Montreal against them, actually. I didn't think it would go 4, but I still thought like 5, maybe.
Yeah, I had pretty good confidence in Montreal too heading into this one. And even if the Leafs were to make it too, I honestly maybe a bit less confidence just because it's the Leafs and we did blow if we won game 7, I wouldn't have that much confidence heading into the second round, I don't think. Because just the fact that we
Mhm,
blew a 3-1 series lead and they tied it 3-3 against us, I was like, oh
mhm.
no, we can't close this out in game 5 or game 6. That's not a good thing.
Yeah,
But no, Montreal was very confident. And like you said, the rest period, I think, was key because Winnipeg had so much time off. And Montreal was in a tough series where they were facing adversity every single game, it seemed like.
yeah,
They were able to
yeah.
come back in a bunch of these games. And they were more, I guess, war ready or like battle tested, whatever term you want to use. But
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
they had to go through a much bigger challenge in the Leafs. And Winnipeg
Mhm.
just coasted by Connor McDavid for some reason. Um,
I mean, that's all they have to coast by.
yeah, and
Draisaitl as well,
Draisaitl.
but there you go. Pretty
Yeah, no,
much it.
you're
They don't
right.
have the goaltending there.
And then as soon as I guess game 1 ends and the Jake Evans hit happens, you got Mark
Yeah.
Scheifele out of the lineup. That's kind of when Montreal's confidence must have gone even higher.
I
You're
think that's
losing,
when like Winnipeg loses their confidence, if anything. Montreal has
right?
already got the confidence, but Winnipeg loses it. Shifley is a big part of their team, scoring and just mentality. He just brings that energy to them, I think, and losing that's huge.
First line
Which is
center. Yeah,
why he said he didn't want to even appeal it. He said he didn't want to be a distraction, as if he wasn't already, but he said he didn't want to be more of a distraction for the team to, get the appeal and all that mess in there and stuff like that.
yeah.
Use the energy there, and that killed him.
I'm surprised he did that because I didn't think Scheifele was that type of player. And I guess we can talk a bit about that suspension. Did you think that he was worthy of getting the 4 games that he did, or do you think it should have
4
been a bit
seems so
less?
excessive, except especially for the playoffs. I was when I was talking to people, I'm saying 1. I'm expecting 1. I think I want 2.
Right.
Like trying not to be biased, thought the league would give him 1 game because it was just a long charge. But it's the playoffs, so it's like you probably get 2 games in like the regular season, but playoffs will just get 1
Do you
because it
think
was late.
do you think the injury itself had something to do with the amount of games that he got? Like having Evans been stretched off and having the concussion, do you think that played a factor?
It always does, right? I feel like
Yeah.
it always does. If he got up and just skated off, it's hard to say that he would still get a 4 game suspension. It was a charge. He skated like 200 feet right to him. Unnecessary hit, even if it was
Right.
clean, I guess. But he did make contact with the head. I haven't seen that kind of close of an angle.
It was kind of like I think the shoulder chin area, like it wasn't direct
Yeah.
contact with the head, I don't think. But then also
But
when
a
he
lot
hit,
through it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then when he hit the ice, it was head first as well. That or he did hit the
Mhm.
back of his head onto the ice. So I think that might have had something to do with the concussion as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, that was just a scary sight to see. Do you think Scheifele could have prevented that goal from going in? Like he should have went for the puck instead of going for the hit.
That was the other thing. He never played the puck.
Yeah.
Watches he even in like the league's own video, they said, "Yep, Shifley took his hand off the stick. He was never playing the puck."
Yeah.
which probably reinforced their decision maybe to even add a game. It's like he wasn't ever playing the puck. He went straight for the guy. This is charging. This just looks terrible in the league.
I know.
Could he have stopped it? Maybe. I don't
Like,
think so. I think he still would have wrapped around and got hit regardless.
right.
I don't know. When Evans was skating down the ice, I was like, oh boy, I hope he's aware he's gonna have people trying to stop him. It's not gonna be fast enough to bounce off the boards and back to him. He's gonna have to wrap it around.
Right.
The guys are gonna be able to catch him at that point. So I hope he's ready to be aware of that situation. And instead of just looking up and playing it safe, going around or whatever, he just went for it. It was his birthday, so maybe he's like, gotta get the birthday goal.
Was it his birthday? I didn't even
Yeah,
know
he
that Jake Evans
turned
birthday.
25 on that day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a tough birthday present. Oh no. I didn't even know that. That's another underlying storyline to that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think maybe his headspace was like, gotta get the goal. It's my birthday. It's the playoffs, whatever. Just gotta get it. Empty net. I think there's 56 seconds left.
Yeah, that's a big goal.
So,
You put away the game if you score there. And yeah, I guess he could have kept his head up a little bit more, or like you said, like just know that it was coming. Yeah, he just didn't at all. He was going straight for the goal, and you got to take one for the team there. I guess he sealed the victory. And I think he's doing like limited workouts now for Montreal.
He was on the ice today, apparently.
He was on the ice today.
Beginning skating, yeah.
Okay, so that's a good sign, and good thing it wasn't like anything more than a concussion as well.
But he has concussion history, which is a bit, I don't know, I'm a bit nervous about. He has history with that.
Right.
But Lehkonen fitting into his spot is perfect. They're kind of the same player. And Lehkonen already has 2 goals, I think.
Yeah, he's looked really
against
good.
Winnipeg. Yeah.
The Habs
defense kind of guy.
We'll talk about like some of the additions that they've made to their lineup this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Caulfield obviously didn't start the series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Definitely a big debate around the hockey world. Why isn't this guy playing if he's basically one of the only offensive-minded players that Montreal has that could be in their top 6 at least? So I guess like I could just straight up ask you, like, what are your thoughts on Cole Caulfield but what have you liked about his game so far? And do you think it was the right decision to bring him in at the time that they did, or should they have brought him in a lot sooner to start that series?
I think they didn't play him because they just wanted to play all, I don't know, the guys who were safe. Like, he's a rookie, which is probably why Romanov didn't play either, and Kotkaniemi didn't play either. They're kind of younger. They can't risk the dumb mistakes, and they need to just grind out the game. They had a game plan already, and they played it out the same way for the rest of the series. They just had to take the risk of adding those guys later, like Kotkaniemi and Caulfield. But they want to play that super safe. They want to win exactly like how they did in the game 1, 2-1. Just grind out that game. Just shut down everybody, play super defensive. Very boring hockey, but gets the job done.
Yeah. It's like the Islanders.
The Islanders against Boston.
It's a boring style of hockey, just shut down, and that's what works against a team like Toronto, because that's exactly what they did in Game 7, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, I guess. But that's exactly what they did. They just played boring hockey. Both teams were very conservative, and that's how Montreal won the game. But yeah, I really liked Cole Caulfield. I don't see why I don't see why Montreal waited till Game 3 to put him in, really. But I do agree with what you're saying. Maybe you give the young guys a little bit some time to watch from the press box, get used to seeing playoff hockey, maybe. But no, he's been a tremendous addition, and I don't know if they probably still make it to round 3 with. Actually, I don't know. Do they even win that series against Toronto without Cole Caulfield? That's definitely could be up for debate, because he was a big impact player.
I mean, he got the OT goal in Game 6. Well, he didn't get the OT goal, but he was very integral to that goal.
He picked off the pass, or Galchenyuk passed it right to him, I guess.
That's the thing. You can talk about the 2-on-0 or whatever, but anyone can do that. But would the other player have been there to block that pass?
Yeah.
Would they have played it that high up, or would they have been a bit more defensive minded? Caulfield's thinking, like, if I'm an offensive guy, I'm going to be right here to go for the breakaway or whatever. Maybe somebody else like a Lehkonen would have just played it more defensive and would not have been there.
Maybe he would have missed
Caulfield
the net
is
on the 2-0 as well.
he would have gone for the shot
He
instead
would
of
have
the
gone for the
pass.
shot.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
surprised Caulfield actually didn't shoot that.
And then Lekkonen's also left-handed, right? So, and Caulfield's
He's on the
right-handed.
left wing, yeah.
So maybe that could have thrown it off. Yeah, you know what? In a completely different universe, the Toronto Maple Leafs won that series in game 5. Yeah. But no, Caulfield's been great. He's going to be an integral part if they want to make it past Colorado, and I think he could have a big series in him heading into round 3. And he's not like a point per game type player yet, but he gets a point like every other game. And even though it's not goals, he manages to get the assists. And do you think they should be playing him more? Because I think the first 3 games of the series, he didn't play more than 13 minutes. He played around 12, 13 minutes. And then in the 4th game, he played 17. So do you think Montreal's just trying to get him more involved into the game? Would you like to see bigger minutes from him heading into the 3rd round?
I think with the 17 minutes, he's getting probably what he deserves. What's that? Like, that's not first line minutes, but it's kind of up there.
That's like more than William Nylander got.
And he was probably their most important player.
Yeah.
The only one driving offense. If you look at the time on ice that Montreal is doing, it looks like the first line getting a lot. And then lines 2, 3, and 4 kind of all split similarly. Like as if Montreal, like Ducharme is just rolling the lines with the odd first line getting a couple extra shifts in there. So I don't know. Everyone's bought into one idea and everyone's getting equal shifts, if you will. And they're just rolling the lines like that. Caulfield obviously drives a lot of offense, so he's going to get a bit more time. But time on ice is very similar with everyone. It's around 13, 14 minutes.
Do you think that's a problem heading into a series against like Colorado or Vegas? You're missing, I guess, those star players. Like Montreal has some star players, but they don't have like that one elite line that can shut down another team's line or go toe to toe with like McKinnon, right? They would put like Philip Deneau against that line, and Deneau is a good shutdown center, like one of the top 10, I guess, defensive centers in the league. He shut down Matthews, and in this series, he did well against the Jets, but it's different when you're playing one of the best centers in the game in Nathan McKinnon. And also maybe not just from a defensive side, but even an offensive side. They don't have one guy to just kind of win you a game with his scoring ability that can change a game just like that. Is that something that Montreal needs to worry about? Should it be worried, or are you just confident enough in their defensive side of the game that they're able to win a series?
I'm confident in that defensive game. We don't have the superstar to score, but we have the superstar in Deneau. I'm not actually a superstar, but he can shut anybody down. I think McKinnon had an interview where he said that the toughest player to play against is Deneau.
Really?
He said he called him out by name, saying he was the hardest player to play against.
McKinnon or McDavid?
Not McKinnon specifically, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised that Deneau was getting the shout-outs like that. But specifically from McKinnon, he said that Deneau was the hardest player to play against. I'm not, I don't know, lower confidence on Colorado. That's a scary team, but I wouldn't be surprised if we can shut down that top line more so than other teams could. I'm sure they're still going to skate circles. It's McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. It's not just McKinnon alone. And we have one Deneau, not 3.
Yeah.
As much as I would like more.
Definitely. But, Montreal has a bunch of, like, even though they're not tremendously skilled offensively, they're playoff guys. Like Josh Anderson. He has a great shot, physical, uses his body very well, gets it on the forecheck very well. And he can score goals. I think he was like a 30-goal scorer once in his NHL career. Montreal signed him to a big contract. So they're betting on him to score goals when it comes down to it in round 3. To Foley as well, another impact player. He scored the game winner in game 4. So I really like just the fact that they have these not, I wouldn't say veterans, but guys like in the middle age that have been
Yeah,
to the playoffs before, that are bigger playoff guys, and I think that's going to really help them against maybe a younger team, more inexperienced team
yeah,
than
that's
the
true.
Avalanche. Maybe not so much Vegas. Vegas will be more similar to Montreal in
Yeah,
maybe their ages and the way that they play, but
experience.
Colorado, you
Yeah.
got offense against defense. Vegas is more kind of in the middle, but Montreal is
Mhm.
really banking on their defense, and so
The
far it's
defense.
worked. So
So
far
far, it's
it's worked.
worked. Um, we have a few cup winners on our team, Toffoli included. He won with
Yeah.
the Kings. Joel Edmondson with the Blues. Eric Stahl is literally Eric Stahl. Corey Perry, I think, won with the Ducks, right?
Yes, he did, and he made it to the final last year with the Stars.
Yeah, he knows what it's like to get far. They lost in 6 games against Tampa, I think.
Yep.
So he knows what it's like to get there, and other guys on the team know what it's like to win.
Uh-huh.
Jake Allen, even with the Blues, did he win the cup with them too?
Yeah, he was their backup, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he
sure.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Binner. Binning.
Yep. Bennington.
So we have a lot of cup winners on the team, and you're right, with Colorado, they're pretty young. Not a lot of cup experience in that team, really at all. I don't know what team would rather face if we're talking about that.
I want to talk about Romanov first because he
Okay.
just entered the lineup last game. And
Yeah.
I was very iffy about this decision too, but maybe it's safe to put him in when you're up 3-0. So in case he does
hmm
blow you the game, you got 3 more shots at it. Um,
Yeah.
but what did you think of Romanov in last game? Did he fit in well for you? Do you like to see him back in the lineup come round 3?
I mean, it's gonna be hard once Petrie's healthy, and he'll probably play game one. Uh, I don't know. Romanov is a rookie. That's probably just why he wasn't playing. And we're just so not deep on defense. We have a lot of guys, including John Merrill, I think his name is, from Detroit when we did
Right.
that trade. He's still an option for us. Romanov, though, just he can be offensive. He's an offensive minded guy, but he
For
hits a
sure.
lot. And I think hitting on Winnipeg was almost brought us the win a little bit as well. Just their spirits are already so low, but then just make them even more nervous when they try to touch the puck, which they hardly did. But if you hit him even more, Romov is fine. He's just young. I think he's got to get some more experience, and he's fit in the lineup fine. But I don't
Yeah.
think he'll get more time after Petrie's back.
I think it's a good piece to just fall back on in case there's
Mhm.
an injury and stuff like that. But yeah, it's when it comes down to the last 2 rounds of playoffs, you want your veterans in there, and you don't want to take a chance on a young guy. But he's gonna get there eventually. Like, he's got so much talent, and
Mhm.
he's gonna fit in very nicely with Montreal's defensive core in the coming years. He's got that
He'll be on the
tremendous.
team long, yeah,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
long term, yeah.
First line power play once Weber and Petrie get old, so he'll be
If he
great.
even had 1 year of experience before, like if this was his second season, he would have absolutely been in the lineup every game. I don't know over who, but he would have been in the lineup. We probably wouldn't have even traded for like a Gustafson because we would have had a Romanov.
Do you like Gustafson? Because he's a sneaky player. Because I think he put up like, I don't know how many points, but a lot of points on Philadelphia 2 years ago. And he was like
Was
a
it
power.
Chicago or was it Philly?
Oh, sorry, it was
He was
Chicago.
traded to Philly, yeah.
Right, it was Chicago. You're
Yeah.
right. That was like, I think, the year that Kane and DeBrincat went off as
Yeah,
well.
he got like 60 points. I had him on my fantasy team. I was like, this
Yeah.
Gustafson guy's amazing. Where did he come from? Yeah, he's putting up a lot of points. I don't know what happened in Philly.
Has he
Not
been
using him
playing?
well.
Has he been playing in the Winnipeg series? Because I know he played
Yeah,
like.
he has. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
he's
think he
a.
literally scored in the last game there, game 4,
Okay. Yeah,
the
I think
first goal.
he's another good addition that Montreal added. A bit of a sneaky guy with some offense on the back
Mhm.
end. So that's nice.
I
And
think he was on Chicago's power play. I think that's
he
probably why I
was.
got so many
Oh yeah, he
points.
was on
So
the first line power play.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like their defensive core, and they got the depth with Romanov, and if Gustafson doesn't play on the bench, that's really, really good depth.
You have Merrill there, who's I don't really know much about Merrill, but I know he's
I
kind of
think he was
defensive minded.
a Devil at some point too. I think he started his career off with the Devils and then went to
Okay.
Detroit. Yeah, I
So
don't
he's
know
a
too much
defensive
about him.
minded guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they got a bunch of those guys, so they're in good shape defensively. But yeah, let's talk about Colorado or Vegas. Who would you rather face? it's tough either way. It's going to be tough either way. But who, in your eyes, gives Montreal a better shot to win and advance to the Stanley Cup final?
I think I would have to go Vegas. I think I would rather play Vegas. Colorado is just too offensive minded, almost like Toronto is, but I don't know. They don't have a Cale Makar. You can say they have a Morgan Riley, but Makar is
Yeah,
even
way
more
better.
so
Yeah.
offensive minded, and their power play is just scary. Like they have McKinnon. I don't. You could say Matthews is up there as in goal scoring, but McKinnon's also equally a playmaker.
Yep.
Vegas is I don't know. We're built similarly, and I think with Price and the way we're playing right now with our confidence, we could shut them down pretty well. Their depth is pretty similar to ours, but I think we could just shut down their bottom lines. And we have Corey Perry, who scores apparently every game on the fourth line. So you end up with the fourth lines facing each other. You're almost looking at a goal every time.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe Colorado is kind of lacking some, or sorry, Vegas is lacking some depth there.
I was looking at the stats too. Like, what's Carey Price's record when Montreal scores 3? It's really high. It's like 14 wins and 0 losses or something like that.
Wow.
So when Montreal scores 3 goals, they win. And I don't know how far that goes back, but I think it's like 14 playoff games.
Okay.
And over the season against Winnipeg, we scored 3.1 goals a game. So I was like, okay, if on average against the however many games it was, 10 or 9, if we score 3 goals every game, why do we lose this ever?
Yeah,
we should theoretically win this. And against Toronto, we scored, I think, 2-point-something goals a game. Mm-hmm. So we squeezed out of that series, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the stats for Vegas. We've only played them 6 times since 2017, and none of those teams had Pietrangelo on it.
Right. But
the stats are like we scored 4.2 goals against them a game. What? in those 6 games, while also letting 3.8 in.
Okay,
a lot of goals
games.
there.
Yeah,
high scoring. Where Colorado in 6 games, just to keep the numbers similar, 1.7 goals for and 2.2 against. We're 2 wins and 4 losses.
Damn.
And Vegas were 5 wins, 1 loss.
That's interesting. That's a really good stat. Wow. Okay. I guess heading back to that first stat, first of all, if they score 3 goals, they have a good shot at winning. I guess it doesn't matter about Colorado's offense too much then. It's about, can they get by Grubauer? Grubauer is going to be the key. Mm-hmm. Who would you rather face as a goalie? I think that might be the better question, because like Grubauer has had a phenomenal season, a very phenomenal season. Vezina caliber, and you got Fleury on the other side / Robin Lehner if they choose to go to him at some point. 3 very good goalies that you're facing. But I think Grubauer might have a bit of some weakness to him. Just the fact that he hasn't made it this far in the playoffs. He's a bit of a smaller goalie too, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bit more inexperienced.
Well, Vegas is up in this series. If Colorado comes back,
for sure,
I got to think that Grubauer just has even a slight bit of doubt now. It's like, okay, I didn't play as well as I thought, and now we're facing Montreal and I'm facing Carey Price. If you're thinking goalie battles, it's got to be a tinge of doubt for him. It's also like, would you say Jack Campbell's like Grubauer? Like kind of like not like the front man
they
forever.
Look
they
kind
were
of
kind of in the
similar.
back.
Yeah, they do.
But now suddenly
they
are the front man, and they gotta save their team.
Yeah, I know. I think Grubauer's had, like, I wouldn't compare him to Jack Campbell, because Grubauer has been the starter there for 3 seasons, I think now. So he does have, he's had a few more games under his belt, but just the inexperience in the playoffs, because he was injured last year in the playoffs for Colorado in the bubble. It was like it's Michael Hutchison. Michael Hutchison was in it, because Francouz got injured as well.
Francouz, that's the guy. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was like Hutchison, and I feel like someone else. They must have had someone else in there as well, but
Francouz was very relevant for them though too.
Yes,
right?
He was.
Yeah, so that was another guy. But Grubauer has always kind of been around Colorado and done well.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's had like kind of that similar story to Campbell. He was the backup on Washington for a few years. I think was it behind? It couldn't have been Varlamov. That's too long ago.
I know
Holtby,
that
I
name's in
guess.
my head, but
Holtby,
yeah.
that makes more sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it would be a challenge either way. I would probably rather face Grubauer though, other than Fleury, because I think Fleury's just a
Yeah.
beast when it comes to playoff time, and he has the 3 cups. And even Robin Leonard too. Like, I don't know what's wrong with Leonard. Like, he hasn't had the best playoffs, but
Mhm.
last season in the bubble, he was a rock. You weren't scoring anything by him.
He was the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he play game 1 in the Colorado series and nothing after?
Um, I I think he
Because he
might have
played game
played in
1.
game 2.
Okay. He
I
played in game 1
forget.
for sure, and then obviously let in like however many goals it
Yeah. Oh
was.
my goodness, it was crazy. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know why they should have just started Fleury. I thought Fleury was pretty good enough to start, because Fleury ended that series in round 1.
yeah, he did, yeah. So I don't know,
Yeah.
give him that extra day or 2 of rest, or just like, all right, Leonard, time to prove yourself. Remember last year when you were sick? All right,
Yeah.
go ahead and do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem when you have a tandem. It's tough to make that decision. Yeah, he Leonard started game 1. He let in 7 goals. And Fleury didn't even come in as a backup in that game. Like, Leonard played the full game. So maybe Fleury was maybe dealing with an injury or
Yeah,
something.
maybe
Or
Leonard was just vocal as well. Like,
yeah,
coach, I need to play. It's like, all right, you can play. And when you let in 7 goals, you're staying in net.
exactly. Yeah. And then yeah, Fleury came in game 2. He had an 880 save percentage, so like not
Yeah.
amazing, and they lost that game as well in
Mhm.
overtime. But he kept them in it last night though. I don't know if you're watching any of last night game, but they were down 2-0. And
Oh yeah, they
Colorado was
came back.
just
Yeah.
dominating. Colorado was dominating in the second period, but Fleury only led in 2, or I think it was
Mhm.
only 1 in the second period in total. But he was outstanding. He kept the minute, and then
Mhm.
Vegas just mounted that comeback in the second. And
I was driving home, so I had to listen to the third period on the radio, but I was listening to the Colorado announcer, and the amount of times he was going, "Oh, it's saved." It's like, Fleury's playing really well right now, obviously.
Oh yeah, Fleury stands on his head. So you're going Vegas. Vegas
I gotta go
is your
Vegas
team.
just because of the 6 games we played against them. We've scored so many goals, and I don't know. That's far back. That's to 2017,
And it's
and none
also
of those
regular
teams had
season.
Petrangelo
It's also
and
regular
regular
season.
season. Who says that Price played those games? Who says that Fleury played those games? Right. Um, but I think Vegas, just as we're so similarly built to them, and the guys are ready to score right now. We're scoring. We're playing defense. Habs are playing perfect hockey right now. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not allowing like hard chances. Winnipeg got 14 or 16 shots on Price in game 4. That's miserable. It's amazing that the Habs even were able to shut them down that well.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be a challenge either way. Vegas
Mhm.
or Colorado.
Yeah.
I guess I am leaning towards Vegas as well. Just because they don't have that star power up front. And I think Montreal can definitely capitalize on that. And if
Mhm.
they score 3 goals, like you said, they might have a good shot at winning. And I think Price has a much better chance of playing well against Vegas than he does Colorado, because there's just so much star power there. I think Colorado's more deep than Vegas as well, both
Mhm.
offensively, probably defensively as well. And not goaltending wise, but in the playoffs, you
Mhm.
really only need the one goalie. Um, and yeah, it's probably the same reason. But I have a feeling that if they play Colorado, it could be a very lopsided series. And I'm not saying that like Colorado wins it in 5 or 4, but
Yeah.
it could be the other way around as well. Montreal wins it
Really?
in like 4 or
Just
5,
suddenly we
because
figure out Grubauer.
if they figure out Grubauer, and also if they just shut down that top line for Colorado, because like you said, that the teams are so different, like their playing styles are so different. It's not gonna
Mhm.
be it's probably not going to be like a 7-game series because of that. It's going to be kind of
Right.
lopsided. Um,
Mhm.
so if Montreal is able to maintain the Colorado offense, maybe they get it done in like 6 games potentially, and it
Yeah.
doesn't go to
Yeah.
7. But I
That's
think
fair.
that
Yeah.
that one against Vegas, though, I think it's like so neck and neck, that the playing styles of the teams, that's
Yeah.
like destined for 7
A 7
games.
game. That's fair. Yeah. That's a good point. That is a
Yeah,
good point. Now,
but But
It's
if I were you,
pick your
I would
poison, really.
I would take Vegas though for sure. Like because like I said, Colorado, if they get by Carey Price,
Mhm.
I think it's much easier to get into a goalie's head than to like the overall like offensive core's head, right? Like if you get by
Yeah,
Carey Price, then it's kind of game over for Montreal.
one
He's got to
person
stand
versus
on his head.
20 of them. Yeah,
Yeah, straight
because
up.
just
So
have some fourth liner to suddenly be a hero and like Kiwi Ranta for last year,
oh
right?
yeah,
Well,
got like a hat trick,
so
right?
many,
And
yeah,
yeah,
all of a sudden. So it's tough to get in Price's head, but Grubauer I think is a bit easier just because the not in the league as well and as long, sorry, and it's literally Carey Price.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, maybe Colorado's a better one. It's a pick your poison, and we're also assuming that like Montreal could shut down that impossible line that
Yeah.
Colorado has.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I gotta just let him score a goal a game or something, and
I,
we'll
I
see what
think
we can do.
I think also like when's Kadri coming back? Because you got to
That's a
look
good.
at
I
that,
know.
right?
Yeah,
Because
I've been
he's
thinking about
he's not a nobody. He can if he doesn't get
that.
suspended, he's not a nobody. If he well, he comes back, he gets suspended again. Watch that happen. But no, like
Jake
he's
Evans
a
comes back or something, and then runs into him.
maybe. Yeah, just he already has the concussion. It can't get any worse. Just takes a hit. I don't know.
I don't know when Kadri's back. That's a good point. I forget when he even got suspended, but he's serving 8 games.
Well, if this series
Um,
goes 7, then yeah, I think he might even be eligible for game 7 because it was an 8-game suspension, right?
What what did he get the suspension for in the first place? It was against Falk, but I don't remember what
Yes.
game that was.
I think it was like earlier on, maybe like game 3 or something. But I I would think he's either
Yeah,
back for game 7 or back for game 1.
like yeah, the next series. It seems like that would make sense. It's gotta be soon.
Yeah, because it has been quite some time.
But yeah,
Um,
when Kadri's back, that is definitely another factor. That's huge. The hitting,
he'll
even the just scoring in general.
he'll be eligible to return for a potential game 7 on Saturday if Colorado
Wow.
and Vegas goes
So
7.
serving his 8th game then tomorrow or whenever they
Correct.
play next. Wow.
So
Okay.
he's back for that
Mhm.
round to start. Um,
And yeah, we're still talking about Colorado though. When they're down in the series, I think Vegas honestly will probably take it today
yeah,
or whenever they play. Sorry,
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Really?
Um, they're up 3-2 in the series, and Fleury's playing like Fleury, and they're going to Vegas. And yeah, Fleury's on a hot streak. They just came back 3 games, so I don't see how they don't shut that down in Vegas too.
That's
Colorado's got to
true.
be in their heads a little bit. Like we're talking
For
about how we
sure.
can get into Colorado's heads. I think they're already there.
Right.
They just lost 3 games in a row.
That's crazy. Playoffs are so weird. Like Colorado swept in their first round, and then they won the first 2 games of this series. They won
Mhm.
6 in a row, and
Yeah.
then you lose 3. Like, and then it
Mhm.
just completely switched. You're down 3-2. You're facing elimination now.
They're
But
Montreal, except like they started that way and we ended that way. We
yeah,
just won
exactly.
7 in a row.
Exactly.
Hopefully we didn't
Um,
actually end that way. Hopefully it keeps going. And it's like
Hopefully it keeps going. Yeah, they just
yeah.
get reverse swept now. They just get swept in the
I
next
want like a
round.
15-game win streak.
I want to say, like, we talked about the rest period for Winnipeg earlier.
Mhm.
Montreal is going to have a little bit of time off now. Especially
Yeah.
if the Vegas and Colorado series goes 7, that pushes it to Saturday. They ended their series on Monday. So they're going to
Yeah.
have a
Like a
full
six
week,
day.
probably.
Yeah.
We don't
I
know
think I was
what.
looking at it. It's gonna be if they finished it as soon as possible, Montreal would have like a 4-day break, I think. It's already two
No,
days now.
really?
It's already 2 days now.
Yeah.
It could be finished tomorrow, which
Yeah.
would be 3 days. And then let's say a break after that is 4. Do they play right after
Saturday?
2 days from then? Saturday? They
I don't
already
know
have a
how
game
like
scheduled.
because they have to travel to the States. So
Mhm.
there's no quarantine or anything, right? But I feel like that it might take a little bit of like an extra day or two to get
Yeah,
them
maybe add
there or
a couple.
something. Or
Yeah, even if the league is for some reason says just give them an extra day and then you get the travel and stuff like that.
yeah,
Sure, maybe you add a couple extra days. So we're looking maybe like almost minimum a week then.
it
Six
could be a
days,
week.
7 days. Yeah.
If the series
Uh,
ends game 7 on Saturday, maybe it starts Tuesday of next week. So that's a week and a day. That's 8 days off. Or no, sorry, that's a week off. That's a week off.
I still think I stand on like the whole Columbus Tampa kind of thing, where we clawed and scratched our way out of that Toronto series. I think Montreal is still kind of riding on that high, I guess, or that confidence is a better way to put it. I don't think the rest factor is going to be an issue like it was for Winnipeg, because they just cruised through Edmonton and then they rested.
Right.
They really didn't know what it was like to play adversity. I think Montreal has with Toronto and sort of with Winnipeg. They had one overtime game, but they still had to sort of fight for that series.
That's true.
As easy as it I honestly looked, I think it was like 60%, 70% expected win every single game for Montreal based on like the Corsi or something like that. But I don't think, I mean, we're getting Petrie back. The rest is going to be good for him, for all the guys, because they just played 11 games in 19 days.
That's true.
For those two series. Like, so rest is good for them. And they won a series with Toronto. So I think that's got to pump them up a bit. They got to be riding off that for sure. I think and they've been the underdogs in every single series. They're going to be on the underdogs again. And I think they're riding off that too. They're ready to play.
Well said. Yeah, we'll see if they are. They need you in the dressing room to say that before the game in Game 3. But
you need your podcast and the TV's in there.
Definitely, yeah. let's hope Ducharme puts it on. But I wanted to talk a little bit about their off-season plans, but I don't know. Is that too negative? Should we talk about their off-season plans if things don't go their way? Or
no, I'm good to talk about it. Yeah,
we can get into that a little bit. I don't want to keep you for that long because we got to talk some Leafs as well, and I want to get your predictions for the rest of these playoffs. But yeah. If I guess win or lose for the Canadiens, there's going to be some changes.
There's going to be an off season. Yeah.
There's going to be a big off season coming up. And we already know, like, they've got Price locked up for a long term, and Weber as well, getting paid a lot of money. But then we got Caulfield now coming up, Romanov coming up, Kotkaniemi is flourishing, Suzuki flourishing. What do you think is on Montreal's bucket list heading into the offseason? Doesn't matter if they win or lose.
They have a few key UFAs, and I have them here. People like, Tatar. He's not even playing right now. He's a healthy scratch. Yeah. He's getting paid $4.8 million. That's more than Toffoli is.
Yeah.
Deneau is going to be a UFA. He's only being paid $3 million. So I don't think Tatar is going to stay.
No, he's gone for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of that money right there for Deneau. You clear up 7.8 right there, and Deneau will probably fetch at least 5, if not 6.
Jeez, that's hard.
Just because he's a Selke guy. He's always in like that top 5 voting as Selke. I think last year he was 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
And he didn't score as much as he should have to get paid the big dollars, but he's still going to get at least 5. What's Hyman getting? He's a similar player. He's
going to get 5+. Yeah. Well, and also Deneau's a center, which is key. So you would expect. I don't know if they go to 6 for Deneau though, just because of the offense. He can't really. And he's a first line center too on the Habs. You could look at Suzuki, I guess, right? As
even more reason for him to be like, I'm your first line. I'm your second line. Where's my $5 million? So that's a couple extra bucks for him. Army is a UFA. We have to keep him. I think he's so key for that 4th line, 3rd line, whatever he's on.
Yep.
He's only getting paid 2.6.
Okay.
It's fine for him. It's
probably going to be around there. I think it'll still be around there. Maybe like 3 mil tops.
3.5, something like that.
Maybe,
Eric Stahl's gone. He's just a playoff guy for this run, I think.
How much is he making? How much is you know how much Stahl's making?
Whatever he was getting paid in Buffalo, and I think they're retaining 50. I think he's getting paid 1.6. I don't know.
Well, I wonder, if they happen to go on a cup run and maybe Stahl wants to come back, he takes a cheap deal to play like 3rd line
like
center
a $1 million or something. Yeah. What was Marleau getting paid that 1 year? Was he getting a $1 million, $700K even?
Yes.
For the Leafs.
No, on the Leafs he was getting paid a lot. That's why they traded him. But then he went
first round pick.
Yeah, exactly. And then he went to San Jose. Did he? He went to San Jose,
Yeah.
and then he got
Went
traded
back.
to Pittsburgh, and then he went back to San Jose, something like that.
That sounds correct. That
Yeah,
sounds crazy.
yeah, it was around like 700K. Yeah,
Perry, I hope we keep 750K. I think he could almost get a raise to a mil.
that's a
He
great
scores a
signing.
lot. He's so important for that
Yeah.
fourth line. Gustafson is a UFA. I think we probably let him go. Romanov will just take his spot like permanently.
Okay.
Lehkonen and Kotkaniemi are RFAs and have to be signed.
Ooh,
And Kotkaniemi is coming off his ELC.
right.
I don't know what he gets. He's important, but we sent him down to the AHL because he was struggling. I don't think he'll get as much as he wants.
It's definitely going to be like a bridge deal for sure.
Mhm.
I could see like maybe
Like
2
a 3x3
years.
or something.
Yeah, I could see a 3x3. I feel like it could be even less than that. I think it could be like 2 year deal, maybe 2 times 2.75 or something, because he hasn't really
Mhm.
proven much in the league yet. I don't know if he deserves to be getting paid a ton of
No,
money, like
yeah.
especially because he's probably going to be wanting a long-term deal and the money. Like he's going
He's
to
a
be
young
wanting
guy
like
too.
3.5, I would say, for like 5 years. He wants that big boy contract, but I don't know if he's
Everybody
going to
wants
get it.
that.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
he's too young. I think he's still 20 years old.
Yeah,
He's still 20. So it's like you could still sign him for 7 years and still have him as a RFA.
right.
Unless it's over 27. I forget what it is.
I think it is
For
27.
um yeah, he's not gonna get what he wants. I think you'd sign him for like a 2. If he proves it there, you can still sign him for a 4 after or 5 after that and keep him as RFA. That's
Right.
probably what will happen. Maybe do like 2 3x3s or something like that if he doesn't do
Yeah.
it after 3.
Yeah, they'll definitely bring him back. And then Lehkonen, I'm sure they'll figure something out there
Yeah,
with
he's
him.
getting paid 2.4, I have. And I think that sounds about right for him.
Yeah.
He's playing on the first line now, but he's not a scorer. He's kind of a smaller Dano. He's more defensive minded, a little bit
Yeah.
gritty.
Yeah, he could maybe get a raise by like a couple 100,000, but
Yeah,
that's it.
3 mil
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's so off season. There's a bit to do. I think with Tatar clearing 4.8 and giving Dano a bit of a raise, we're gonna clear a couple mil.
I think so too. Yeah. It's going to be a busy offseason for sure. And I definitely think like depending on what they do at
Mhm.
these rest of the playoffs, it's going to change it a little bit.
Mhm.
It's maybe not so much from the management point of view, but from a player's point of view, like who actually
Mhm.
wants to stick around and play, like a Perry, like a Stahl, bringing those.
Maybe Jonathan Drouin asked for a trade because he's on LTIR right now because he's not
Oh,
playing.
yeah. Yo, I completely forgot about Jonathan Drouin. Where was this
Yeah.
guy? Yeah.
He's on like personal leave for undisclosed
Oh, right.
reasons. Be it,
Okay.
I don't want to speculate on that, obviously. That's not fair. But he's
No,
not playing. He's
wow.
catching 5.5.
I completely forgot about him. That's a
So his
big
money's
difference
buried right
maker.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
clear Tatar, but then you throw Druin back in. Or he asks for a trade if that's what he wants. Who knows? Who knows
Right.
what's happening with him right now?
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, it should be a very interesting offseason then for Bergevin. And yeah, let's move on to the Leafs. Let's talk
Mhm.
some Leafs. What is wrong with the Toronto Maple Leafs? And we witnessed it firsthand. You as a Habs fan,
Mhm.
me as a Leafs fan in this series, blowing a 3-1 series lead. Um, I haven't really talked about the Leafs since that loss. Like literally the day after, or that night actually, the night that they lost, I did a reaction video on this channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. It did pretty well. I don't know if you've seen. I did 2 Leafs reaction videos for Game 6 and Game 7. They're called
Mhm.
Leafs rants, and they've gotten like a combined 7K views on
Oh
both of
wow,
them.
okay.
Yeah,
I
and
think
the
I clicked on one, but I didn't see the views on it. But that's got to be a good video to have out on your channel for sure.
and the comment section is just all Habs fans just ripping it. So you'd love it. You'd love to read it. Just
I'll
go,
throw
just
in a
go.
comment.
Oh no, yeah. Maybe defend us a little bit. So like, hey, I'm a Habs fan, but you don't have to rip them this hard. Uh,
I don't know,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. Watch the video first, I guess, and then
Mhm.
decide on what to comment. But um, in your
The Leafs,
opinion,
yeah.
what is the matter with this team? Is it the players? Is it the way the roster is formed? Is it just the mindset? Is it all in their heads? Is it all a mental thing?
It's that. It's got to be
Yeah.
mindset. It's got to be mental. I think also the Leafs are just soft. Like I never thought they would. They're not winning the Stanley Cup this year. I was always thinking that they're just too soft for the playoffs. They don't hit enough. Well, they hit fine. They hit enough. They hit a little bit, but they're just a bit too soft. I think Montreal leads the league in hits per game on average at like 30 point something.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that we could probably bully the Leafs enough to maybe win the series initially. But I was thinking like the Leafs will probably be able to score through a couple rounds. But I think once they start facing the teams that got deep, they're going to end up with the teams like Colorado, Vegas, Tampa, Boston, Islanders who are hitting a lot. And that's when they're going to shut down. I think that's one aspect is the hitting. They're just a bit soft, but otherwise a little bit's got to be mental.
Mm-hmm.
Marner Matthews still young.
Yep.
And they've choked it a couple times already.
For sure. Yeah.
They've been in the playoffs. They have experience, but they have experience losing. So it's got to be in the back of their minds now forever. That like I've never won a playoff series. I've always lost it.
That's true, but they're still young. I don't know if they're necessarily the problem that much. Like I think that whole mental block will finally be uplifted. And it just takes a series win to do that. Because if you win a series, then your mindset will completely change and they'll get past it. It'll just be a big weight off their shoulders heading into like a second round matchup. But I don't know, like for those players, I don't think it's necessarily a big mental thing because they've only been in the league for 5 years and they know that they're still young. They're going to get better. They're only going to get better and better. And I think it would be different if these guys were like 28, 29 or like 30 years old and they just lost 5 in a row. They haven't won a playoff series yet. That could be mental. But because Austin Matthews is still 23 years old, 3 years older than me, I don't think it's getting in his head too much. And I feel like if they surround them with like a good core around him as well, it could be beneficial. But
maybe it's the leadership problem then. The core the vets they surrounded them with are not perennial losers, but none of them have cups. Joe Thornton doesn't have a cup, and neither does who's the other guy that they have? Spezza.
That's
He's not a cup either.
Simmons, right? I believe, doesn't have a cup.
Simmons doesn't have one either.
I don't think he won one on the Kings. No, you're right.
The guys that Montreal added, Perry and Stahl, those are legends, and they both have rings. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if
Stahl doesn't have a
ring. Carolina.
Carolina
was 6, I think.
No, that's too long ago. That's like the Rod Brendamore era. I don't think Stahl was Stahl there? I don't know. Was he? Actually, I'm curious now, but I don't think so.
And then Perry in 07, I think.
Eric Stahl, 2006. Yeah, I don't know what the problem is, honestly. Like I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks. Like, and Dubas is probably asking himself the exact same thing. But I think what they have decided to do is just kind of run with it. Just keep on pushing and we're going to get it done. That's what Shanahan was saying in his exit press conference. Like, this is the core. We're not trading the big four. We have confidence in them to get it done and we're going to get it done. And it's painful hearing it as a Leafs fan because it means that there's not going to be changes coming and they're just going to make us sit through this once again and again and again until they actually get it done. And there will be more pain ahead because there's no guarantee that this works next year. Heading into the season with the exact same core four and without a Zach Hyman too, because I don't think Zach Hyman's coming back. He's going to be getting...
You don't think he stays? He's gonna ask for a lot more money?
I don't think they can afford him. Yeah, like he would want to stay, of course, but unless he takes like a big discount, he's going to be probably upwards of $5 million, and that's just not worth it. And like we can talk about some of their offseason moves. Like you look at Zach Hyman, he's playing on the top line with Matthews and Marner in the playoffs, and he's a workhorse, no question. He's one of the best forechecking players in the league, in my opinion. He's very hungry on pucks, and he's good defensively. He plays on the penalty kill, and he can play on the power play, but he can't shoot. He can't shoot. And he can't really pass either. And I feel like maybe if you lose Hyman, right? It's not necessarily that bad of a thing because then you find a replacement on that top line, maybe a guy who can be that forechecking guy, but also a
Mhm.
guy who's more skill based and can finish. And when Marner passes you the puck, he can actually bury it. Because
Yeah, yeah.
Hyman had so many chances in that Habs series where he got the puck, clean looks on Price, just couldn't bury it, or took too long with it, stuff like that. Didn't know what
Mhm.
to do with the puck. And also, I think that if you lose some of that, I'll say effort. If you lose some of that effort that Hyman gives on that top line, it forces Matthews and Marner to play with more effort,
To do more, yeah,
to
yeah,
do
for
more.
sure.
And I think that's
Yeah,
only going to help them grow and get better at and make them like complete players. That's what the Leafs need to see
yeah.
out of, especially a guy like Mitch Marner. He's got to play with a bit more effort. He's got to finish his checks more. He's got to be, just like all the attributes that Hyman was, like hungry on
Marner's a
pucks.
bit in his head. I think with like stuff like him clearing out of the zone for that puck over glass penalty, that's just him in his head. He's just nervous to get hit there.
Yeah.
It was like, oh boy, he had so much time. He has so much time, and he just overthinking it. He's like, I don't want to get hit right now. Just need to send this, and then doesn't thinking about it, and it's over the glass, and you do right away, and he still get bumped on that play too.
Yeah. Like who cares? It's the
Um,
playoffs. You're gonna get hit. And yeah,
yeah,
like even if you think you're gonna get hit there, like I'm okay with him shooting it down the ice. Just don't shoot it out of play. Just shoot it like in the open area that nobody else is there. Like just keep it
do you
in
think
bounds.
Hyman is like Montreal's Brendan Gallagher? Gallagher is a
No.
pretty guy in front, not as good, not as like important as Gallagher is to the Habs, but he's still like a similar player. He's kind of in your face. He will dig into corners and stuff like that, push people around.
I would
Um,
love a Brandon Gallagher on the first line because he can score as well.
mhm,
And he's a bit more feistier than Zach
mhm,
Hyman as well. But
yeah,
also he's disciplined. He doesn't take like that many penalties. Um,
yeah,
I think like someone like him, a guy like maybe like a Travis Konechny on the Flyers, who
yeah,
was a
in your
healthy
face guy for
scratch
sure.
in your
Yeah,
face, but
Matthew
all
Kachuk even.
yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I would love Matthew Tkachuk. Like I would do a Matthew Tkachuk for Mitch Marner trade if it was offered. Maybe not one for
Wow.
one, obviously, because I feel
Yeah,
like we could definitely get plus there
get
if
some
we
picks back, save a lot in the cap as well.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Getting rid of that contract. But I guess that leads me to my next question. Like, would you consider trading one of the big four? We know it's not going to happen. Like Dubas has made it clear.
yeah,
Well, at least he's made it clear to the public that, and
yeah.
he kind of
They
has to say
always
that,
say
right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. They have to say that. Like Bergevin was like, we're not trading Subban. He's traded that summer.
Yeah.
Like it's I they gotta say that, and I don't believe it. I wouldn't be surprised if none of them get traded,
Yeah.
but I also wouldn't be surprised if one of them does get traded because there's
Right.
no way that they're not thinking about it. That contract is bad, and that's probably also why Hyman will end up leaving because he's not going to take a discount. He's like, this guy didn't have to take a discount. This guy probably is getting overpaid. I want my money too.
Yeah. The Leafs are really starting to realize now that their team is just solely based around four players because
Yeah.
Hyman's going to be gone. Morgan Riley's probably going to be gone too, like in
Hmm.
free agency or via trade. I think the Leafs really should consider trading him this offseason and you don't lose him for
Riley,
anything. Yeah, because he's going to be wanting like what upwards of 7, I would assume. You can't
what's he getting
afford
now?
that. 5.5.
Yeah,
Like,
he definitely gets more than that, if not 8, really.
yeah,
Burns is somewhere around there.
exactly.
Um,
So you
Not
can't you
putting up the
can't
same points, but he's still the horse of that team. So
I don't think he's that caliber though, to be honest as well. I don't think because the Leafs look at him as a number one defenseman. He's not a
yeah,
number one defenseman. He's not.
I mean, not for your team, he is.
For
So
for
that's
our
probably
team
where
he
you could
is.
say like, pay me like it. But
Yeah.
obviously, they'll use examples of other teams and say like, you don't do all of these things. That's why you're not getting 8 million. And maybe
Right.
Riley he's been there the longest, so maybe he really will take a team discount there. It's like I really want to win with
Uh
this team.
it's gonna be a really big team discount. I'm thinking now, like the
Yeah.
comparison, like I'm looking at like Torrey Krug. You can see the resemblances between a Krug and a Riley. And I think Krug got like
Mhm.
8 mil, and Riley's gonna want more than Krug. So yeah, he's
Mhm.
gone. You're not signing Morgan Riley to like 8.5. There's no way.
So,
Um,
is he UFA this year or the next year?
no, next year. Yeah. So I think it makes sense to trade him like now, find your replacements, get a year under their belts. And then just move on from
Hopefully
Riley.
he's like Seth Jones, where he will tell you, it's like, I'm doing free agency next year, so you better think about my future here.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I'm playing this year, obviously, but I'm not going to be on this team next year. I'm letting you know that.
There's got to be a conversation between him and Dubas. And we were talking about guys like who have been here for a long time. Like Riley's been here since like 2014. I don't think he was a part of the collapse in 2013. But
was he not? Okay. I thought he was.
I think
But I thought he was like a 1-year rookie or something like that.
He was on the team, but he just didn't play or something. Or he was in maybe he was back in junior or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, he's been here for a long time. Though. Yeah, exactly. And no success. So maybe you do move on from a guy like that. Maybe that's like the Leafs DeRozan moment. Like I don't want to compare hockey to basketball at all, but
but I think that DeRozan is more similar to Marner Matthews. That's your Lowry and DeRozan right there. And you got to part with one of them and bring in McDavid.
No.
But like that's what Kawhi would be compared to, I guess. You're just suddenly like the best player in the league for your playoffs. Maybe not a playoff guy.
Maybe it's like an Eichel. Maybe Jack Eichel's the Kawhi Leonard.
Eichel for Marner.
I mean, I would do it for sure. I would do it, but
I think either team would do it. So
bit of
both
a
players. Yeah, Eichel wants out, and Marner like deserves out. I don't actually mean that, but like that's what people will say.
Just throw Eichel on the wing. Throw Eichel on the wing with Matthews.
It's pretty scary.
That's very scary.
That's a Crosby Malkin moment, I guess.
And then we got Tavares as well.
And Tavares, yeah.
And Nylander, yeah. Jeez. 1 through 4.
Cool reaction I saw for Tampa is the adversity that they faced with Columbus. The core didn't change the next year. I think they added 2 people. I can't remember the names.
Coleman and
Gaudreau.
Yep.
Yeah. It didn't change. They faced the adversity with Columbus. They were ready. They knew they deserved the cup that year, really. And they fought through it the next year. And they're like back to the playoffs, and we're doing it this time. All the same guys, except for 2 new guys.
I've seen that comparison, but
that's got to be the key for Toronto too.
We're not Tampa though. That's the thing. No? I've seen the comparison, but we're not there. Like you even said, like you didn't think that the Leafs would win the cup this year. They're too soft.
I thought they could score through a couple series, but I think once they end up facing those big boy teams, like the ones I named before, they were going to get bullied too much and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
and that happened way earlier.
But then like Tampa, right? They were already a complete team against Columbus in that series, and they unfortunately lost Kucherov and Hedman in that series.
And now they're complete and more.
Yes.
They're like 120% complete.
They're set for the next 15 years with Point and Kucherov and Vasilevsky. Like he can single-handedly win you a cup.
You better hope the cap raises by whatever it is, 10-20 mil in 1 year, because that's what they're over right now.
Yeah, it's not. It's gonna be flat. Yeah, it's gonna be flat for I think maybe 2 years, something like that.
So I wonder what happens then, because they gotta shed something there.
That's true. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They'll probably move on from maybe a Cirelli or a Gord.
You'll probably see an offer sheet, if anything.
That'd be cool.
They can't afford to pay anybody.
I'd like to see more offer sheets. Offer sheets are fun, always fun. The Montreal Canadiens, they did the offer sheet on Aho.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, but
I think that was the Aho agent saying, like, Burge, like, please help me out, help me get some money for my client to send one this way. But he front loaded that for a cash low team like Carolina.
Right.
Like he made almost the whole contract signing bonuses, which they got to pay out in front in cash. And that's tough for Carolina. So maybe that was the only thing that would make Carolina say, no, I can't match it. It's too much money. I'm a billionaire, but I can't afford a few million in cash there.
Yeah, it seemed like you really wanted out then, Aho. But hey, they're out of the playoffs now. They're out. Montreal's moving on. Let's talk about predictions for the next 2 rounds, and I assume there will be some bias. Maybe about who
I try not to be biased. I try not to be biased.
Okay, well, let's finish off with the second round first, I
Montreal.
guess.
Joke.
In the second round, even though they've already made it, even though they've already won against Winnipeg.
We'll go back and finish off everybody else.
Yeah. All right, Vegas and Colorado. Vegas is up 3-2. You going Vegas? I think.
I have to say Vegas. I think they do it. Yeah, Fleury's on a hot streak. They're in Vegas, and they figured out how to win. They figured out Colorado. I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Vegas, and they do it in 6 or 7.
Yep, 6. It's got to be done. It's done next game for sure.
All right. Okay. I'll take Vegas as well. And I'll say they do it in 7 games. They do it on the road. Boston and New York, the Islanders.
That's an interesting one.
They're up 3-2. The Islanders, they got a chance to close it out tonight. How you feeling?
That's right. Boston has been in the playoffs so much. They have seen this before. Islanders, I think, won their first series against Pittsburgh, a couple of years ago, and they swept them and then got swept.
Right.
2019.
Yeah. Something like that.
I don't know, but this is a sort of a different Islanders team. They're ready to win. I wouldn't be surprised if they can close it off tonight. But Boston is Boston. You got people like Marchand who just always show up in the playoffs. I have Boston on my bracket. I think they can still take it. I gotta say Boston 7.
Okay. I'm gonna say Islanders in 6. I think from what I saw against Pittsburgh in the first round, their ability to close out the series at home in 6 games, I think the exact same thing is gonna happen tonight. But Boston is, I would say, more of a playoff team than Pittsburgh, so it will be tougher. But I believe in Barry Trotz and his defensive style. The Islanders can get it done in front of their crazy crowd. I think they can finish it off tonight. But
that's true. Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. But yeah, if it goes to 7, like Boston's pretty good in game 7s from, the history.
If Boston wins game 6, I think that gives them the confidence. Like, okay, we're good. We know who we are. Our identity's there. We can win game 7, no problem.
I'll say that too. Yeah. If the Islanders lose tonight, I would say Boston in game 7. But yeah. So moving on to round 3, you would have Tampa Bay against Boston. That's a pretty good series. I'll just say mine right away. Like, I'm not betting against Tampa. I think Tampa's just too good.
They're too good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just stacked.
Yeah. I have to say Tampa even wins. I don't want to jump on the subject.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna go. I was gonna say
too.
It's tough. Defending champs, like, they're just a complete team, and like, yeah. Well, let's move on. So we got in the other series, your Montreal Canadiens against the Vegas Golden Knights. So who loses to Tampa in the final?
Colorado or Vegas has got to be the hardest. Yeah, exactly. Colorado, Vegas got to be the hardest challenge that Montreal will face, and I don't think Montreal can do it. I think they might win like the first couple of games and then pull the Colorado thing where they'll end up losing a bunch after that.
Really?
I mean, the series isn't done. I think Montreal might, if they win the first game, maybe that confidence stays high and they play well after that. But I think as soon as Montreal faces adversity, it's going to bring them down to earth a bit. And then we'll really see who the actual good team is. And it's not going to be Montreal winning that series. I think Vegas will probably take it. And then, or Colorado, Tampa versus either of those teams. I think Tampa's way too complete. They're way too perfect. And then above that, even, they're just so good. Yeah.
And then I guess just like that Montreal Vegas series, like, it's really going to test how good that North Division was.
Yeah.
Like how good these Canadian teams really are against like a juggernaut like Vegas. And I hope Montreal doesn't get crushed in that series and lose in 5 games or something like that. Because then people will say, like, and then it changes the way that you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Jets and all the other teams in the North, and how much farther away they are from winning a Stanley Cup against these great teams. But I don't think it's going to be that way, though. I think Montreal has a little bit more, like we were talking about it earlier, like, not necessarily fight, but just the style that they play. I think they have a bit more of an identity than the Jets did, than the Leafs did to get it done in the playoffs. Do I think they're going to win against Vegas? I wouldn't be counting them out. I would feel a lot
Yeah.
more confident against Vegas than Colorado. That's for sure. And
Mhm.
like I said before, it could be a 7-game series in that one. And it's a toss up in a game
Yeah,
7.
you can't count Montreal out anymore, and they're ready to fight against the underdog tag as they have been all playoffs already.
Yeah.
Like there was terrible takes of Winnipeg in 4 or 5 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I know, right? That's crazy.
so can't count Montreal out. I don't have as high confidence as I did against Winnipeg.
For
I
sure.
had lower confidence against Toronto, and I think this is going to be the hardest challenge, and we'll see what happens. I
Mhm.
think it could go long. I
Yeah.
just don't think that Montreal will take it. But
Okay.
I think it'll be if it's Vegas, it'll be low. It'll be close games. I'm not gonna say low scoring, but it'll be close every game, like
Yeah.
5-4, 4-3, stupid scores like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Damn, I really want to say Montreal wins this, and like it's very close to call. I'm debating back and forth, but the safer bet would be Vegas. They are the
Yeah,
favorite heading into that series.
maybe we're
Yeah.
pulling a 2014 Kings though. Not that we upset. We sort of upset the Leafs, I guess, like Sharks and the LA Kings when they were reverse swept.
All right.
Sharks were up 3, and then Kings won
Right.
those
Right.
4, and then they won the cup that year. I don't know. Maybe we're pulling the Kings, and we're just suddenly we figured it out. We're just playing perfect hockey, and maybe we do it.
I was
Montreal
thinking
versus
like,
Tampa, though, still
oh
that's
my
even
goodness,
harder.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no chance. Tampa's too good. I will say Tampa wins the cup, but and yeah, like I'm just trying to picture it. Like, can I see a Montreal Tampa Stanley Cup final? I could see a Montreal Boston Stanley Cup final, but I don't know
Oh, I
about it.
hope that happens. Yeah,
You hope that oh my
a
goodness.
Montreal Boston, of
I
course. Everyone
wouldn't
wants to
take
see that.
You want
You
to
wouldn't
see
want
that
that?
though? I would love to
Everybody
see
wants
it.
a Montreal Boston
Yeah, but
final.
like
Maybe like
that's
five,
kind of
6 years ago, but
for me that's saying do I want a Leafs and Boston Cup final? I don't want to see that. That'd be heartbreaking because we'd
I mean,
lose.
I don't live in Boston, so I can
That's true.
I can take it. But losing against Toronto when I'm living in Toronto, that's
Right.
rough.
Right, right.
I think it would just be cool for the league. You see like 2 original 6 teams, 2 teams that have hated each other for 100 years, I guess. So
Definitely.
that would be like good for TV.
Yep.
I think it'd be boring though. Tampa's gonna make it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, Tampa will make it. Tampa will probably win. Unless like the only team that I could see upsetting them would probably be Colorado if Colorado manages to pull off the comeback here against Vegas. But even
The scoring factor.
Vegas could do it too, but I want to see a Colorado Tampa final. I think that's the final that people want to see. The clear 2 best teams going head to head, who comes out on top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go Vegas.
Yeah.
I'll go Vegas over Montreal in 7 games.
Mhm.
And then Tampa over Vegas in 6, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. That does it for the show. That does it for the show. Luke, thank you very much for coming on. Anything else you want to touch on or say? Any crazy prediction you have? Any hot take that you want to give? Yeah, anything.
Who gets exposed for the Seattle draft in Toronto? Hyman?
uh
Anderson's gone.
Anderson might be gone. Like he will be exposed for sure. They're not going to protect him. Does Seattle want Anderson? There might be some better options out there.
Look at Jake Allen.
Nah, maybe. Like what about like a Braden Holtby in Vancouver?
Yeah.
I feel like Anderson could go to the Penguins. I've heard some rumblings about that. I've heard the rumblings in the past too. If he's a free agent, I think the Penguins need more of a steady veteran type goalie. And Jari just wasn't cutting it. So maybe they go after him.
Campbell is Toronto's future goalie for the next year, at least, obviously.
Yeah.
For Anderson is done in Toronto.
I agree with that. Yeah. It sucks that it's coming to an end, but yeah, that's a good
Hardly
way to
a hot take, really.
Yeah, not really a hot take. Actually, I had a hot take earlier on this year saying that Montreal would win the cup. That was my hot take.
Okay, that's
Like,
a great one.
I think it was back in like December or something. I said like if they get by the North Division, they go on to win the Cup. So I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, maybe Anderson does go to Seattle, and maybe you're right about that. And yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So thank you guys very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow Luke on social media. I'll put his Instagram in the description below. Follow his YouTube channel as well. He posts some Warzone clips and highlights with Matt. I watched like a couple of them last night, actually. I heard you mentioned like the Canadiens, like in the beginning of it. Like you talk, you said like,
was I talking about it? Oh,
yeah, you said like
hockey,
it was like
go.
their first sweep since like, I don't know, the 1990 or something, 1994.
In the second round, yeah.
Yeah.
Since 93 when we won a cup, yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that'll be all in the description. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And yeah, peace.